Okay, so my next guest today is Dr. Laurie Groman from Teknek. Nice to see you, Laurie.
Hi, Trevor. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's a real honor.
No, it's absolutely not. I mean, we're here to look at what's new in the industry and what's really trending. And you have a brand new decontamination system that you're showing at the show today.
We are. So when we are actually we're here for the first time in the US at a US show, and we're here to introduce our new inline board cleaner, the TEK BC40.
Right.
So what it does in a nutshell is it removes contamination, particulate contamination from what we call bare boards.
Yes.
And the reason for doing that is that you want to actually enter a process critical step, which is solder print, as clean as possible, so that you avoid defects and you safeguard against latent faults.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a fairly critical part of the process right at the beginning. When you bring the bare boards in, whether they're coming from China or anywhere else, there's always a certain level of contamination in there. So you put them through the roller to remove the contamination before you go into the solder, the stencil printing process.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
But it's not just the contamination that might be on the board, which will be. Even producers that are very, very good and have high levels of cleanliness in their PCB manufacturing setups.
Right.
When these boards are then packed, and then oftentimes they travel halfway around the world, so you will have a certain amount of friction, and that obviously creates, again, particulate contamination that is on the board that many SMT processors or your producers don't really realize how much of an issue it is. And with all the components sizes getting smaller and the real estate of the boards becoming under much more pressure, so because we have a much greater density now of components, also particles that might not have been an issue only 5 years ago, nowadays something in the 30 micron space is an issue, where your smallest component is 200 by 400 microns.
So how easily does the roller pick it up? I mean, it's essentially an elastometer material. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Did I get that correct?
Not quite. It's an elastomer.
An elastomer, yeah.
So how exactly does it do that? So what we've gotten here, this is our core technology really contains, we call it the cleaning core. So, and it's a specially engineered elastomer that we call, or I call, in layman's term, almost like a chemical magnet. Right. So it is our greatest strength, but also our greatest weakness, if you like, because when people look at it, they often think it's like a lint roller. It's something that you use to clean your clothing. It's not,
It's the same principle in as much that it removes contamination, in this case, off the board, but it's doing it using a proprietary material, chemistry.
We have an IP on that, and it's a very closely guarded secret.
Right.
So even I don't know how it's made, so I couldn't tell you even if I wanted to. Okay. Similar to Coca-Cola or Kentucky Fried Chicken, or there are other chicken brands out there.
No, well, I mean, but seriously, it does actually also comply with some of the leading standards around the world, and perhaps you can explain some of these.
Yes, so the standards are really important, in particular in high criticality applications such as automotive. Certain things are very, very important for people. Cleanliness is getting much more important now, and one of the reasons for that, in particular in electronics or in advanced electronics, is the avoidance of latent faults.
Right.
So that is a big risk item, a hot topic item, and the other obviously is static. So, and one thing to say about our cleaning system, it is independently verified. The earlier platform of the TEK BC is independently verified to ANSI ESDS 2020. Right. That's really important to many people in automotive. And what has happened recently, and this is a totally new piece of research, and unfortunately my colleague, industry stalwart and co-inventor and bringer to market of this technology, lady called Sheila Hamilton. Yeah. She's very well known in the industry. She couldn't be here because she had a plane to catch to go back to the UK. So she presented a paper at the SMTAI conference yesterday, and what we showed there is that this contamination removal technology has now been qualified under the VDA 19 standard.
Okay.
To people in automotive, this will be a really big ticket item. VDA is der Verband der Automobilindustrie. It's a German car manufacturers association. Yeah, and the corresponding international standard is ISO 16232.
Right.
And we have now been qualified to be a particle extraction technology under that standard. So what this means is people can go straight from the lab into their line, and they know that they've got the performance that they need to remove any kind of particulate contamination that would affect the reliability, performance of the boards.
Right. Well, that's important, actually, and congratulations on getting that qualification for sure.
Thank you.
So just to recap, we've got the machine itself, which takes rough to what's the maximum board size that can go through the machine?
The width is 400 millimeter.
400.
So I think I'm not very good with the
inversion.
But I think it's about 15.7 inches,
right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you've got 2 hand rollers, which is a 6-inch or a 12-inch.
That's right.
Roller.
And with the hand rollers, that's obviously a very low cost introduction to the technology. And we have a lot of customers that choose to buy a hand roller to qualify the suitability of the technology for their process.
Right.
And then they will actually buy the machine later on.
Now, from memory, when I last looked at the machine, the roller has a roller top and bottom, so you put the board through the middle, so it's cleaning both sides of the board.
No? It's cleaning the top side of the board. It's cleaning the top side of the board. We do have another machine that can do the double-sided cleaning that you're describing there.
Okay.
However, the one thing to remember is where is the biggest benefit of the machine on the SMT line. It's at a very, very mission-critical process step, and that is to clean before solder paste. We know that 60% of defects
come from solder.
Actually at solder paste. So this is why we want to have a pristinely clean board entering the solder print.
Process,
And that's why it might make sense at first glance to clean both sides of the board, but what we are saying is often what is a better idea is to flip it and then pass it through again so that you clean before your critical process step.
Right.
And I had just a customer on earlier today, and they were talking, and what we do is we populate the one side of the board and then we stick them in the rack. And then they're in the rack maybe for 3 days. So if you had cleaned both sides, there will be now contamination again. So it really is, it's good practice to clean before solder paste.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a very comprehensive explanation of how it operates, and I want to thank you for coming in and telling us about it and updating us on the latest qualifications for these roles. So thank you very much, Laurie.
Thank you, Trevor. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for having me.
The Arch FX manufacturing platform. Processing over 1 trillion data points each month. Bringing value to every level of your organization. That's manufacturing insights for tomorrow.